I found out my boyfriend was cheating. But the truth is, that wasn't even the worst part. Ethan and I had been together for 2 years. And if you asked anyone, we were perfect. He was attentive, charming, always knew the right thing to say. Every morning, I woke up to a good morning, beautiful text. Every night ended with a call. He remembered small things. My favorite coffee, my work schedule, even the way I liked my food. He made me feel seen, important, safe. And that's exactly why I ignored the signs. Because when something feels perfect, you don't go looking for problems. But slowly, things started changing. At first, it was subtle. He took longer to reply, started canceling plans, said he was busy more often. Then came the excuses. Work is stressful. I'm just tired. And I believed him. Because I wanted to. But one thing didn't change. His words. He still said he loved me. Still called me his future. Still made promises. And that's what confused me. Because how do you question someone who still sounds the same? Until one night, everything cracked. He fell asleep next to me, phone still in his hand, unlocked. I stared at it for a long time. I wasn't that person, the one who checks phones. But something inside me wouldn't let it go. So I picked it up, and what I saw changed everything. Messages, dozens of them, different names, different conversations, same tone, same words, same lies, flirting, promises, late night conversations. My heart dropped, but I kept scrolling, because part of me needed to understand how far it went. Then I saw her, Emily. Her messages weren't like the others. They were deeper, more consistent, more real. Pictures, plans, future talk. This wasn't just cheating. This was a second relationship. I looked over at him, sleeping peacefully, and in that moment, I didn't cry. I didn't react, because something inside me shifted. I realized something important. If I confronted him now, he would lie, and I needed the truth. So instead, I did something worse. I stayed, and what I discovered next was far more disturbing than cheating.
The next morning, I acted normal. I smiled, texted him first, even laughed at his jokes. And he did the same, like nothing had happened. That's when I realized something terrifying. He was good at this, not just cheating, but pretending. A few days later, I decided to test him. Do you think we're okay? I asked casually. He looked at me, confused. Of course we are. Why would you ask that? I shrugged. I don't know. You've just been distant. He laughed. Actually laughed. You're overthinking, he said. There it was. The first shift. Not concern. Not reassurance. Dismissal. Over the next week, it got worse. Every time I brought something up, he flipped it. You're imagining things. You're too emotional. You're stressing me out. And slowly, something started happening. I began to question myself. Not him. Me. Maybe I was overthinking. Maybe I was insecure. Maybe I was the problem. And that's exactly what he wanted. Because while I was doubting myself, he was getting more comfortable, more careless, more bold. One night, his phone buzzed again. He glanced at it, then turned the screen away quickly. I pretended not to notice, but inside, everything was connecting. This wasn't just cheating. This was manipulation. Careful, calculated, and I was right in the middle of it. So I made a decision. If he wanted to play games, I would let him, but this time, I would be the one in control. And what I did next changed everything.
I stopped asking questions completely. No more, where are you? No more, why are you late? No more pressure. And at first, he noticed. You're quiet lately, he said one night. I smiled, just focusing on myself. He nodded slowly, but I could see it. Confusion, because I wasn't reacting anymore. And for people like him, that's unsettling. Meanwhile, I was watching everything. His schedule, his patterns, his lies. And then he said it. I have a work trip this weekend. I almost smiled, because this time I was ready. I didn't argue, didn't question, just nodded. Okay, that's when I knew. He had no idea. The day he left, I followed him, carefully, not close enough to be seen, but close enough to see the truth. And there it was, a hotel, not an airport, not a meeting, a hotel. He stepped out of the car, checked his phone, looked around, then she appeared. Emily. They hugged. Close. Comfortable. Like this wasn't new. And in that moment, everything became clear. But I didn't cry, because this time I had proof. Photos, videos, everything. But that wasn't enough, because I wasn't done yet. And what I did next was something he never expected. When he came back, he acted normal again. I missed you, he said. I smiled. Me too. That night, I told him I had something special planned. Dinner, quiet, private. He relaxed instantly because he thought he was in control. Halfway through dinner, I handed him my phone. Watch this, I said. He pressed play, and everything changed. The hotel. Him. Emily. His face dropped instantly. Panic. Fear. Silence. I can't explain. No, I said calmly, comma. You can't. And then I leaned in slightly. You didn't just lie to me. You tried to make me feel crazy. He froze. Because now he understood. I knew everything. We're done, I said. Simple. Final. But I wasn't finished, because the next day, I sent everything to Emily. Every message, every lie, every truth. And just like that, he lost both of us. No second chances. No explanations. Just consequences. Emily replied. I wasn't expecting that. Not so quickly. Not so calmly. Can we talk? She wrote. I stared at the message for a long time, because in my mind, she was the other woman. The one who took what was mine. But something didn't feel right. So I replied, call me. A few seconds later, my phone rang. Her voice was soft. Careful. Almost nervous. Hi, she said. There was a pause. I didn't know about you. I closed my eyes for a second. Not because I was surprised, but because I could hear the truth in her voice. I figured, I said quietly. Another pause. Longer this time. He told me he was single, she continued. He said his last relationship ended months ago. Of course he did. I let out a small breath. I've been with him for 2 years, I said. Silence. Then I heard it. Her breathing changed. That's not possible, she whispered. It is, I replied. And just like that, everything shifted again, because in that moment, we weren't enemies anymore. We were both victims. We talked for over an hour, comparing timelines, messages, details, and the more we talked, the worse it got. He didn't just lie occasionally. He built 2 completely different lives. Same words, same promises, same future plans, just with different people. It was calculated, precise, terrifying. He told me he loved me, Emily said quietly. I almost laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was familiar. He told me the same thing, I said. Silence again. Then she said something I didn't expect. What if we confront him together? I paused. Part of me wanted to say no, walk away, be done with it. But another part of me, the part that had been manipulated, gaslighted, made to feel small, wanted him to face everything. So I said yes. We planned it carefully. No warning, no time for him to prepare. 2 days later, we made it happen. I told him I wanted to see him. He agreed immediately.
Of course he did. We met at his apartment. He opened the door, smiling, relaxed, until he saw her, standing right behind me. Everything changed. His face froze. Color drained instantly. What is this? He asked. I didn't answer. I stepped inside. Emily followed. And then, I closed the door behind us. Now there was nowhere to run. You want to explain? I said calmly. He looked at me, then at her, then back at me. I can explain. No, Emily cut in. You've said that already. He froze again, because now, his lies had nowhere to hide. You told me you were single, she said. And you told me I was overthinking, I added. Silence, heavy, unavoidable. He ran his hand through his hair, pacing slightly, trying to think. Because that's what people like him do. They don't feel bad, they calculate. I didn't want to hurt either of you, he finally said. I almost smiled, not because it was funny, but because it was predictable. You didn't want to get caught, I replied. That hit. He looked at me differently this time. Not confident, not in control, exposed. You made me feel crazy, I continued. You made me question myself, and you lied to me every single day, Emily added. He didn't respond, because there was nothing left to say, and for the first time, he had to sit in it. The silence, the truth, the consequences. I took a step back. We're done, I said. Emily nodded. We both are. And just like that, it was over. No shouting, no drama, just clarity. We walked out together, and as the door closed behind us, I realized something. This wasn't revenge, it was release. But what I didn't know yet was that Ethan wasn't finished, and what he did next was something neither of us saw coming. For a moment, I thought it was over. No more lies, no more manipulation, no more confusion, just peace. Emily and I kept in touch after that, not as friends exactly, but as two people who understood something most don't. What it feels like to be lied to, convincingly. A week passed, then two, and slowly, life started feeling normal again, until the messages started. At first, it was subtle, unknown numbers, blank texts, missed calls. I ignored them, blocked them, moved on. Then one night, I got a message that made me stop. You think you know everything. No name, no number saved, but I knew exactly who it was. Ethan. I didn't reply, because that's what he wanted. A reaction, control, but he didn't stop. Another message came in. You ruined everything. I stared at the screen, calm, unmoved, because now, I understood him, and people like him hate losing control. The next day, Emily called me. Her voice wasn't calm this time. He showed up, she said. I sat up instantly. Where? My apartment. My grip tightened on the phone. What did he say? He tried to apologize, then blamed me, then blamed you. Of course he did. And then, I asked. She paused. He said this isn't over. Silence. That was the moment I realized. This wasn't just about cheating anymore. This was about control. And he wasn't ready to let go. That same evening, I got another message. A picture. My apartment building. Taken from outside. My heart dropped. Not fear, awareness. Because now, he wasn't just manipulating. He was escalating. I called Emily immediately. We're not dealing with this alone, I said. The next day, we went to the police. Not emotional, not dramatic. Prepared. Messages, call logs, screenshots, everything. For the first time, he wasn't controlling the narrative. We were. Days later, he was contacted, warned, restricted, and just like that, the power shifted again. No more hidden messages, no more surprise visits. Silence, real silence this time. Weeks passed, then months, and slowly, everything settled. Emily moved to a new place. I focused on myself, healing, growing, and one day, I realized something. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't hurt. I was free. Because the truth is, people like Ethan don't destroy you. They reveal you, your strength, your boundaries, your clarity. And sometimes, the biggest revenge is simply walking away without looking back. And this time, that's exactly what I did.
For a moment, I thought it was over. No more lies. No more manipulation. No more confusion. Just peace. Emily and I still spoke occasionally, not as best friends, but as two people who had seen the same truth. Weeks passed, and slowly, life started to feel normal again. Until one night, there was a knock on my door, soft at first, then louder, more urgent. My heart dropped instantly. I wasn't expecting anyone. Another knock, harder this time. Open the door, a familiar voice said. Ethan. I froze. Every instinct told me not to move, but he didn't stop. Please, I just want to talk. I stayed quiet, didn't respond. I know you're in there, he said. His tone changed. Less calm, more desperate. Just open the door. I walked slowly toward it. Careful. But I didn't unlock it. What do you want? I asked through the door. There was a pause. I messed up, he said. I just want to fix things. I almost laughed. You can't fix this, I replied. Silence. Then his voice dropped. So that's it? Yes. Another pause. Longer this time. Then suddenly, bang! My heart jumped. He hit the door. Don't do this, he said. But this time, it wasn't calm. It was angry. I said, we're done, I replied, firmer now. Another hit opened the door. The calm was gone. This wasn't about love anymore. This was control. I stepped back quickly, grabbed my phone. My hands were shaking, but my mind was clear. I dialed Emily. Stay on the line, I whispered. Another loud bang echoed through the apartment. He's here, I said. I'm coming, she replied instantly. I'm calling the police too. Outside, his voice kept rising. You think you can just walk away? Another hit, louder this time. The door shook. Fear crept in, but I didn't let it take over. Because now I understood exactly who he was, and I wasn't going to let him win. Minutes felt like hours. Then suddenly, silence. No knocking. No shouting. Nothing. I held my breath, listening. Then, sirens, faint at first. Then, closer. Relief washed over me instantly. Moments later, lights flashed through the window. Voices outside. Firm, controlled. Step away from the door. Then his voice again. But this time, different. Defensive. Panicked. I wasn't doing anything. I stayed inside. Still waiting. Then my phone buzzed. Emily. They've got him, she said. I closed my eyes for a second. Not out of fear, but relief. When I finally opened the door, he was already outside, being held back, arguing, trying to explain, but for the first time, no one was listening. And as they led him away, he looked at me, not with confidence, not with control, but with something else. Lust. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to, because in that moment, everything had already been said. The next few days were quiet, real quiet. No messages, no calls, no shadows at my door, just peace. Emily came over that weekend. We sat in silence for a while. Then she smiled slightly. Are you okay? She asked. I nodded. And for the first time in a long time, I meant it, because this time, it wasn't just over. It was finished, and I wasn't walking away broken. I was walking away free. The next few days were quiet, real quiet. No messages, no calls, no shadows at my door, just peace. At first, it felt unfamiliar. After everything that had happened, silence almost felt strange, but slowly, it became something else. Freedom. I started focusing on myself again. Not on what I lost, but on what I still had. My work, my goals, my life. I threw myself into my career, took on projects I used to avoid, spoke up more, and something shifted. The same voice that used to doubt itself started sounding different, stronger, clearer, more certain. A few months later, I got promoted, not because I was trying to prove anything, but because I'd finally stepped into who I was. And for the first time in a long time, I felt proud of myself. Emily and I stayed in touch. At first, it was just check-ins. Are you okay? How are you feeling? But over time, it became something more, a real friendship. We'd meet for coffee, talk about life, laugh about things that once hurt us. She was doing better too. New apartment, new routine, a new sense of peace. He really tried to break me, she said one day. But he didn't, she added. And she was right, because sometimes people don't destroy you. They reveal how strong you already are. A year passed. Life felt completely different. Lighter, happier, stable. And then I met him. It wasn't dramatic. No instant sparks. No overwhelming emotions. Just calm. His name was Daniel. And from the beginning, something felt different. He didn't rush things. didn't overpromise, didn't try to impress me with words. He was just consistent, but this time, in a way that felt real. He listened, respected boundaries, showed up when he said he would, and most importantly, he never made me question myself. At first, I was cautious, careful, because when you've been lied to deeply, trust doesn't come back instantly. It rebuilds, slowly. But he was patient. And over time, I realized something. This is what love is supposed to feel like. Not confusing, not painful, safe. One evening, we were sitting together, talking about everything and nothing, and I caught myself smiling, without thinking, not forced, not distracted, just happy, real happiness. And in that moment, I knew I had moved on, not just from him, but from who I used to be in that situation. Emily met Daniel a few weeks later. She smiled the entire time. "I like him," she said afterward. I laughed. "That's a good sign," I replied. She nodded. "More than that, it's different this time." And she was right, because this time, there was no confusion, no fear, no doubt, just peace. Emily had started seeing someone too, and for the first time, we weren't talking about pain. We were talking about growth, about healing, about moving forward. Two people who had once been caught in the same situation, now living completely different lives, better lives. And sometimes we'd look back, not with anger, not with regret, but with understanding, because everything that happened led us here, stronger, wiser, happier,